Deficit discourse is one of the most dangerous and underestimated pedagogical underlyings in our modern schooling system. Deficit discourse has many negative outcomes. Students will be discriminated against. Students will be categorized. Students will fall and crumble under the pressure of the Australian curriculum. These negative outcomes will ensure that all students endure hardship and failure. Deficit discourse can be defined as a prejudice against a student's potential or ability to learn based upon a number of factors such as sociological, cultural, political, and economical. A popular way that teachers justify deficit discourse is by ceding all responsibility from themselves and blaming it on someone else. Oh, little Johnny from Fernhill is in my class this year? That's unfortunate. He's never going to learn how to read or write. His father's in jail and his mother doesn't care about his education. So why should I? If they don't do something to help him, then he will fail. Yes, it might be true that little Jimmy doesn't have a mother or a father that care about his education, but we as teachers need to say, good, so what? We as teachers need to recognize the disadvantages in our students, but we need to preach our own turnaround pedagogies. We as teachers need to say, I am willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that this student succeeds in my class this year. We as teachers have to say, yes, it might challenge me, but I am prepared and I understand how to use turnaround pedagogy in my classroom. Teachers need to say, if I don't do something and this child fails, it will be my fault. Dave was the only black kid at his elementary school in the US state of Indiana. Dave had a teacher in his 3rd grade that was so deep into deficit thinking that she didn't even bother spending time with students who weren't achieving. Dave said that his 3rd grade teacher would always look for a way out, and she would say things like, this child cannot be taught and belongs in a special school. Contrast that to the teacher he had in his 2nd grade at the same primary school. Dave said that his first day at school, she recognized that he couldn't read or write, but she wasn't willing to shirk her responsibility and blame his failures on someone else. Dave said that she recognized signs that students were struggling and she would take them as cues to provide additional support. Dave said she maintained high expectations and did not let her frustrations overwhelm her. These turnaround pedagogies from his teacher led to Dave learning how to read at a 2nd grade level. The deficit thinking from his 3rd grade teacher led to unnecessary therapy sessions and a lifetime of cheating throughout school. This is a clear example of why turnaround pedagogies need to be incorporated into all schools across Australia. Turnaround pedagogies will ensure successful learning outcomes for all students. Turnaround pedagogies have been shown to eradicate the negative effects of deficit discourse. We as teachers must be agents of change. We must use our understanding of students' backgrounds and skills in their virtual backpacks to inform our teaching practices. Teachers must reflect on their own pedagogy and acknowledge that they can always improve. Turnaround pedagogy is not limited to spending additional time with students. Turnaround pedagogy is about understanding ourselves as a teacher and agents of change. All teachers must be willing to examine themselves and change in order to ensure positive learning outcomes for all students. To summarize, we must be responsible and take ownership of the learning outcomes for all of our students.